So today our question is, what do scientists do when they discover something new? In order to help answer that question, I am going to read us a book, and it's Curious George's Dinosaur Discovery. How many of you guys remember Curious George? So I remember Curious George, and I'm wondering what he could have to do with a dinosaur discovery. So I'm going to read this book to find out. It's by Margaret and H.A. Rays. This is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. George loved to go places with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. One of their favorite places to visit was the Dinosaur Museum. How many of you guys have ever been to a museum? How many of you guys have ever been curious? Today is a special day, George's friend said. We are going to do something very interesting. George was curious. What could be more interesting than a trip to the Dinosaur Museum? The man with the yellow hat had led the way through the museum. George wanted to stop and look at the dinosaur bones, but his friend kept going, so George kept following. Finally, they walked right out the back door. George and the man with the yellow hat climbed into a van and rode to a rocky quarry. Dozens of people were there. Some were digging with shovels, others were using pickaxes or other kind of tools. What kind of tools do you guys see in this picture? Have you ever seen anyone use these kind of tools? Surprise! George's friend said. We will be helping the museum scientists dig for dinosaur bones. George was curious. Were there really dinosaurs buried in the quarry? He ran over for a better look. George watched the scientists work. She dug up some dirt and put it into her sifting pan. Does she look like a scientist? She is a scientist. Because scientists are curious and they discover things, just like you guys are scientists. It took a long time to sift, and in the end, no dinosaur bones. Oh well, she said. Time to try again. But the next pan was empty too. So was the next one, and the one after that. George yawned. So far, digging for dinosaurs was not as exciting as he expected. George was curious. How could he help find dinosaur bones? How do you think he could help find dinosaur bones? What could he do? He found a spare shovel lying nearby. He dug and he dug, but he didn't find any dinosaurs. He climbed out of his hole. George spotted another scientist. He was dusting something off with a small brush. Oh well, the scientist said, this is not a bone, just a rock. George wanted to help. He picked up a brush and went to work. But it turns out that monkeys are not very good at dusting. Uh-oh, what did Curious George do? As he hurried away from the cloud of dust, George bumped into a wheelbarrow. Maybe there were dinosaurs in it. He climbed to look inside, but the wheelbarrow was awfully tippy. Crash! George, the wheelbarrow, and a whole lot of dirt went flying. Hey, someone cried. What's that monkey doing? George scampered away straight up the cliff Monkeys are good at climbing, so George kept going higher and higher. When he got to the top, he accidentally knocked a stone over the edge. That stone hit another stone, which hit another stone, and another. Oh no, it was a rock slide. How do you think those scientists are feeling right now with George out there? Do you guys see anything? George could hardly believe what he saw. Dinosaur bones! After that, the dinosaur dig was even more fun. George helped the scientists dig and sift and dust. Did he do it right that time? And take photographs of the bones he had found. How do they look now? And the next time he and the man with the yellow hat visited the dinosaur museum, George got to see his dinosaur on display. How many of you guys would like to be a scientist? Do you think it'd be cool to find dinosaur bones? All right, that is the end of our story.